Hi, everyone. My name's Collin, and of course, I pull up the wrong presentation. That's my keynote later today. Very excited to be on the stage, but this will hopefully be a really great intro to what the Dabl.Club is later, but also I want to dive into what the aggregation layer is and what the exciting things that are happening in the Polygon ecosystem. So again, I'm Collin Lowenburg. I am a core contributor at the Dabl.Club. We are an extension, a spin-out, as you might say, from Polygon Labs. You can find me on Telegram. I'm pretty reachable. Real quick, I want to level set. Who here is a blockchain engineer who's already built applications on blockchain? Anyone new to Web3? Raise your hand if you're new to this area. Great. All right. So blockchains versus traditional databases. I don't need to spend a lot of time on this, but if you look back in time, you look at that Bitcoin white paper, there's all of these same things: control, visibility, security, and privacy. And if you look down through the ages, back in time, Bitcoin was not the start of blockchain. Blockchain existed and started long before Satoshi Nakamoto. It goes all the way back to Stuart Haber and Scott Stornetta and Hal Finney. These are the fathers of blockchain. And you see Vitalik and Joe Lubin still working in the Ethereum space. Joe Lubin's consensus now has a layer 2. Vitalik is now recommending layer 2s and pushing this forward. And Polygon came out in 2017 and pushed for proof of stake. And Ethereum eventually merged and chose to go proof of stake. So it was a big win for the Polygon ecosystem when Ethereum said, hey, proof of stake was correct. Let's save the world. Let's be more environmentally friendly. And also this year, I'm really excited about the Denkun upgrade. What the Denkun upgrade did for the Ethereum ecosystem was enable rollups to actually become kind of center stage, because now rollups are faster, cheaper, and can store transient data, which this now enables. So we've moved from proof of work to proof of stake to this new proto-dank sharding, which we need to celebrate, and we have to teach people about what's going on. But now this explosion of rollups. Who here is working on a rollup? Anybody? Great. There's a couple people in the room. People are now building L2s at an alarming rate. And the good news is that they're staying in the Ethereum ecosystem. Ethereum has really built this strong base as a home for the entire blockchain industry, whereas alts have not really grown. So Ethereum's ecosystem is massive, and I think we can all agree, we're here at ETHGlobal, so we might be a little biased, but Ethereum is the clear winner, but it's getting more love than it can handle. That scalability issue, we've resolved the scalability issue by implementing layer 2s. Layer 2 protocols have made Ethereum scalable. Finally, this is amazing. We've reached this point in time where you can go and you can deploy on an L2. It's fast, it's cheap. We're really at a turning point in the blockchain space. However, we've created a problem. Who here knows the problem? It's pretty clear on the screen. We've fragmented all of the liquidity in our ecosystem. So now all of our money is split up across L2s. And now we have to pay extra fees to move money between those L2s. So this is not a Polygon site. I made this up, but there's a quadrilemma now. We now have a liquidity problem. How do we solve this liquidity problem? Well, I'm going to tell you the solution. We've already been working on it, and it's called unified liquidity, or aggregation. We need to aggregate all the liquidity across all the L2s and L1s into one aggregation layer. It needs to be something that everyone can agree on. It needs to be a public good. And this is the vision of Polygon, is to have aggregated blockchains. And right now, any Polygon CDK chain, who's here's used the chain development kit? Great. The chain development kit lets you build your own rollup, and I think I've seen it done in 10 minutes flat, deploying your own blockchain. You can now build your own L2 very quickly, and it's becoming so common that we need to aggregate them back together. And so now the Polygon CDK chains are already going to natively be part of this ag layer future. Of course, we've got all the big brands that started with Polygon, but now we can bring all the other chains together. So you don't just get these companies like Nike and Hello Kitty working on one single chain. Now they'll work across the entire ag layer. So if you bring your ag layer chains together, we're bringing a ton of new companies into the space, and they're launching their L2s to connect to ag layer. So this is the future. I know I'm preaching, but I think I'm preaching to the choir. And if you guys want to keep building on Polygon or on any of the ag layer chains, the Dabl.Club is a spin out from Polygon. We are the super team for Ethereum. So we are here to help you, whether whether you're building on Polygon, Proof of Stake, ZK EVM, Polygon Miden, A-Star, Immutable, any of the aggregated chains, we want you to work with us. So I also want to encourage you guys to sign up to come to the Aggregation Summit. So who's going to Thailand? Anyone going to Thailand? Woo! Let's go to Thailand. So November 10th to 11th, we're doing a major aggregation summit. So think of it as like L2 Day, but even bigger and badder. And then also maybe more urgently, this weekend is the last time you can do to submit your pitch for pitching on stage in Thailand. So if you go and submit your pitch this weekend while you're at the hackathon, go submit for the Pole Rush campaign. And if you have the best pitch, you'll be on stage at the Aggregation Summit, and you can pitch for as much money as you want. I'm going to say that again. You can pitch for a grant of any amount that you want. That's pretty cool. So let's LFG that. Also, I want to get people excited. I'm wearing right here an open source AI wearable personal AI. The future is not closed source. The future is open source, particularly in the AI space. We need to help them maintain privacy, and we need to maintain open source. So I'm giving these devices away to anyone that builds on Polygon. And I'm going to extend that to people who are online. If you reach out to me, I will help you get integrated, and we will build something with this OMI device, which is also known as Friend. You can build this weekend, and I will help you. And the founder will come to the hackathon tomorrow, and we will build something really amazing, open source AI on-chain. Here's the QR code, takes you to our Notion with links to every single one of those things I talked about. And I want to yield the rest of my time so you guys can learn about something else that's really exciting from the DevRel, from Dabl.Club, Mel, AKA Troop Degen. Come tell us what's going on exciting in your space.
Thanks, Collin. Thanks, everyone. So I hope you're ready to go through some code. We're going to go to how to build a frame in less than 20 minutes. Okay, so I hope you're ready. And we're going to make it. Wagmi, of course. So I'm Mel, Tripdigen, and we're going to go to create that frame with Polygon transactions. You have the full repository available, and I'll show it in a bit. But very, very quickly, so what are frames? So if you go to Warpcast, you know Farcaster. Who has a Farcaster account here? If you don't, come by me, and if you're gonna build, just create your account. And if you build on Polygon and build a frame, or just build on Polygon, we'll get that account for you refunded on Polygon, of course. But anyways, so here's what you can do on Farcaster. Farcaster is a sufficiently decentralized social network. And what's very cool about Farcaster, it enables applications built inside publications. So think of Twitter or Reddit. Whenever you have a post, well, mostly these posts are read-write, right? So you can just read and interact with it via replying. But what if you could create a frame, a window into an application that you built yourself, and you can build any custom experience inside of it? You can do on-chain stuff. You can do off-chain database centralization. And for example, in this frame, what we're doing is allowing anyone to send some tokens. For example, this token is an ERC20 token, or you can also just send plain Matic, and we're going to build this frame very quickly. Yeah, so the the Farcaster frames, the way they work, it's mostly an image. This image has to have certain metadata tags, HTML tags. If you know about web development, like the Open Graph standard, which is a little bit hidden. Farcaster is using the Open Graph standard to enable this frames creation. But for us, it's going to be very easy. You can place images or build these images from code. And you can put one input text at the most and up to 4 buttons. And you can link different frames together to create a user flow. And on the back end, at the end, for you as a developer or as a builder, you can just do whatever you want. It's a Node.js backend or a web server backend, as long as you have like the right tools, in which we will use one that's very good. You can connect the database, you can connect to the blockchain, and you can use the existing Farcaster graph, to check the followers, check channels which the users are subscribed to or they are members of with the new implementation. So it has a lot of potential. So right now, let's see. This is the GitHub repository for the live example. You can, everything that we're going to build here is available on GitHub, so you can check the code. It's very simple, it's very easy. But here's the full repository, and I'm going to move to the actual code. So we're going to be using Frog for this demo, and we're going to be using NPM, which is fine. And let's create a very quick application here. So let me zoom in this so you can see better. Name of the project. It's called ETHGlobal SF Frames Demo. We're going to use the next JS template so we can deploy it more easily into Vercel. Let's switch to ETHGlobal SF. Then we run npm install. And then after running the installation package, we can open our VS Code, and we can, or whatever editor we're using. It's waiting for a little bit. There we go. And we can run the development server right away. Over here. Let's open this and let's run the dev server. So let me move around my windows. So straight out of the box, we have like a working demo of a Farcaster frame, locally, of course. So we need to go to local 3000/API/dev, and that's going to be our the dev route under the API is going to be our route for working locally. And whenever we deploy into Vercel, we're going to be using the API root route. So this is what Frog brings us out of the box. So you can deploy this into Farcaster, and you will have this functionality. But we're going to be moving very fast because we have 17 more minutes. So we already have a working Farcaster frame app, and everything is going to happen inside the API route file. So this works like a web server. At the end of the day, it's a web server for us. So you point to a route, and you get a response from the framework, which is Frog. And depending on the route that you choose, you can create different images or different experiences. This one just needs to add the title, ETHGlobal SF Demo. And this is what's running. And to make it easier, you can also place images. You know, we have this is like, we instantiate the Frog application. And that's going to be like our node, or you've used Express, or this is built on top of Ono. So it's just a web server. And we are going to start declaring our routes. So different routes, if we want to link a frame to another. For example, right now we just have all of this. And whenever the user gets to the root route, we got some context object here that has a lot of utility. You can get the bottom values that the user clicks. You can get the input text that the user enters, and into the next frame, you can get this data from the user. So it works as a feedback mechanism for you. And the values, you can assign them to, this is at the end of the day, it's still node. And you then return a response with the context method. And first you declare an image. You can use either HTML-like syntax. If you've used CSS inside JavaScript, no, inside the HTML, something like this, so inline styles. Or you can use Frog UI, which is the one that we're going to be using. And as you can see here, all of this code is created into an image. So this is an image. So Frog uses Satori on the back end to convert all of your code into images. And this, you can use the code as HTML tags to create images, or you can just grab an image online. Let's say Mudeng meme. Let's grab one here. I love that it bites. So copy image address. This should work. Or you can replace the whole HTML for just an image URL. Something like this. Hold on. And this has to be There we go. And you can always just create your images on Figma or something, and you can place the images as a URL, and it gets it. And you can also use images as background image. That's also something possible. So you can enable like very cool, just with background, I think. You can check it on the documentation anyways. So let's return to our code, and we're going to be using, well, other than this, we have all of these intents, which is where the user interacts. So you have one input field, and you have up to 4 buttons. So, for example, if I click this, I have up to 4 buttons, and you can use, under these constraints, that's where your innovation happens. Like, how can I make this more fun? How can I make this more interactive for my users? How can I take advantage of X or Y? So let's reset all of this, and with the buttons is where we start doing things like action, sorry. So if you put this action and next or frame 2, and then you create a new, let's just copy and paste this. So this way you can create the next frame. So we said it was frame 2, and let's just change this here so we have next. And this one's going to be frame 2. It's just for illustration purposes. Let's refresh our frame server. Now we have the next. And if I click it, I go to the next frame. So this is very simple. This is how you can create the flows. So you can use different buttons to work as navigation or buttons to work as specific actions. So now the one that we want to do is sending Matic, which is the native token for Pol, or rather Pol, the native token for Polygon Proof of Stake. And for this, let's take a little deeper dive into Frog and check the UI. So we want to use this UI because it's way easier to handle. So we just need to create this file inside our app. Let's copy this, and under the source, it's just UI.ts. Yeah, okay. So let's place it here. Copy paste, and then we just need to import it in our main application. Like so. Can copy this. Just make sure to add it to your app. You need to add this this property or this object. So that's what we're going to do. In our main route, we're going to import the elements that we just created, and it's called a UI.ts. It's not finding it. Let's see. So it's, there we go. And we have to add the UI here. UI bars. And now we can have like a much better, if you've ever used Chakra UI, which is the one that it reminds me of Chakra. And now instead of having to do all of these ugly inline styles, you have like a very, indication, like more, I don't know, I like it more. And this is Polygon transactions frame. And we're just going to say send some tokens to Dabl.Club. And over here, I had this couple of constants. So this is to enable not only native token to be sent, but we will also be sending an ERC20 token called Shock, which is a Mexican stablecoin deployed on Polygon. Yeah. And let's remove a couple of these buttons. So let's say we're going to remove the input, and just let's put this like Y here, send Pol or send MXN, which is Mexican stablecoin. And now here you would explain like, okay, if we want to give like a small explanation of why we built this frame, so we can just put here, this is a demo for ETHGlobal SF. And this one is going to take you back. This is unnecessary, but I think we have enough time. Yeah, we're running out of time. And just remove all of this. Okay, so right now we have 2 frames. We have the first that just explains why, and the second, no, rather, the first one is the root one. It's like the introductory, and the why, it takes you to the next frame, okay? So you go back, and the back one should take you actually to root. So do this. So that's how we are creating some navigation, you see? And now we want to enable this send poll or send shock, which is pesos. And here we will be using the transactions from Frog FM. So we can go here and check the button.transaction. And we're going to enable first for sending poll. So let's put it here. Instead of this one, we will be actually using the send poll one. And we need to create these 2 frames. First for send poll, and the other will be for send pesos. You can also do USD or USDC, sorry. So it just depends which ERC20 token you want to do. In our case, we are using shock. And this is button.transaction. And it can do, like, if you deploy a token, you can use the Dabl.bot to deploy it. And it goes through you and gives you the token address, and you can just plug this address into here, and that's how you can enable these transactions. So let's go very quickly to the documentation, see how we do the transaction. So it's a very similar route, you see? The way you build it is extremely similar. We're going to actually copy both, because we're going to use one for the native token and one for the ERC20 token. So send poll is going to receive the 2 address. This is who are we sending this address, this poll specifically. So we're going to be using recipient address. And the value, let's set it parse ether. We need to, I think there's an utility for this, amazing. And you can send one poll, which is 36 cents or so right now. And for the other one, we just need an ABI. For this, we can just install Viem, or you can even install also Ethers. I like Viem a little bit more, but it's just a matter of preference. Oh, npm Viem. And because we are going to be needing the ERC20 ABI, you can use any custom, so that's fine. Chain ID, of course, use Polygon's chain ID, which is 137. The function is going to be transfer. It's an ERC20 token, so we're going to be able to access the transfer function. The arguments, we need to establish who are we sending it to and what's the value, if you know the ERC20 implementation. So the first will be the recipient address, and later parse ether. And we're going to hard code this into just a 5, which is also like 25 cents-ish of a dollar. And we need to send this transaction to the ERC20 token. So we need that address to be set here. And lastly, we now should have the ERC20 ABI, perfect. And ready. And let's just switch the routes. And as you can see, we are only enabling 2 more buttons as a transaction button and setting the routes. And under our frame, we create these transaction routes. So what's happening is whenever the user hits the button of one of our transaction buttons, the server is going to look for these transaction routes and send back to the user this like transaction-ish data. So, chain ID to value. So it's captured, and what the Farcaster client does, it takes the transaction data and it triggers the wallet to send this transaction. So now we can refresh, and now we see the small bolts on the buttons. So that means they are we're using the transaction, and now you see that we have a transaction trigger here. So why is it switching to optimism? we are doing something wrong here. This 137. Oh, my bad. 37 here. Send poll. Send transaction. Okay, now we go. Now we're good. And now we get the one poll transfer. You see, we already are sending this transaction to our destination address, and we can also do it for the ERC20 token as well. So now we get the confirmation, and we're interacting with an ERC20 token. We also get this transaction sent, and you see the transaction is confirmed here. You can view here, and that's how you keep track of it. Deployment is very easy. Yeah, you just, let's see. It's not going to give us time, because it's going to take some time to build. But let's say git status, git init. Oh, yeah. Let's see if I can make it in 5. Or if there are any questions, you can start right now. I'll try to deploy as fast as I can. I don't think we can make it. Any questions on the frame implementation? The frame is working. We're sending poll. We're sending shock in ERC20. So yeah, what you can do with this is just whatever your imagination takes you to. We explained a very simple one. You can do minting here. You can connect on the back end. At the end of the day, it's just the Next.js API. So you can do whatever you want on the back end. You can create a database where it talks about doing some like chat chat with AI agents. You can leverage AI to help you create user flows, create consumer experiences, collectibles, what else, like commerce, send payment links via Warpcast, or rather via Firecaster as a message, and it opens a frame, and you can like charge your customers that way. Just anything social, leverage token minting and token gating together to access different channels. And yeah, if you have any idea or any questions, you can also find us on the booth. And lastly, you can also find all of this and more relevant content on our Learn platform. That's learn.dabl.club. You have courses for this. We have resources for building on Polygon and on Web3. And yeah, if that's all, if nobody has any question, that's a workshop. And once again, thank you very much. Here's the repository once again.